Hi everyone, I'm Mike Palmer. Welcome to Together for Good. Today's video is on delusion, grievance, and loyalty, the mass psychology of Trump's MAGA movement. If you like this video, please subscribe. Thanks.
The MAGA movement has gained an intensity and resilience that distinguishes it within American political history. Often seen by critics as irrational or extreme, the MAGA movement embodies characteristics of collective delusion and mass hysteria and represents deep-seated political and economic grievances. This essay places the MAGA movement within the context of broader historical phenomena, drawing on theories of collective delusion and collective behavior, as well as historical examples and modern analyses, to help politically engaged citizens better understand the fervor of Donald Trump's most ardent supporters. The phenomenon of large-scale belief in irrational ideas has a well-documented history. Charles Mackay's extraordinary popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds, published in 1841, offers early examples, including the Dutch tulip mania and the South Sea bubble, demonstrating how entire societies can become captivated by speculative ideas or apocalyptic beliefs, often spurred by charismatic leaders and fear of uncertain futures. Mackay's three-volume work presents a history of such collective delusions reaching back to the story of the Crusades, which began almost 1,000 years ago. Men, it has been well said, think in herds. It will be seen that they go mad in herds, while they only recover their senses slowly, and one by one. Charles Mackay. Similarly, Eric Hoffer's The True Believer provides a framework for understanding the motivations of individuals in mass movements. Hoffer argues that feelings of powerlessness and disillusionment make people vulnerable to authoritarian figures and extreme ideologies. The less justified a man is in claiming excellence for his own self, the more ready he is to claim all excellence for his nation, his religion, or his race. Eric Hoffer. Collective delusion has also been linked to religious and apocalyptic movements, as seen in the Millwright movement of the 19th century. According to Leon Festinger's When Prophecy Fails, Miller's followers believed that the world would end and Jesus would return again in 1843. Many people sold their property in anticipation of the event. Thousands gathered to see it happen. When the world did not end, cognitive dissonance pushed many followers to adopt even more fervent beliefs. They eventually became Seventh-day Adventists, a denomination that now has over 22 million members. That people holding strong identity beliefs resist contrary evidence is one of the most important findings of social psychology. No one appears to be immune, which is one reason tribal or identity conflicts can become so intractable. As Festinger wrote, a man with a conviction is a hard man to change. Tell him you disagree and he turns away. Show him facts or figures and he questions your sources. Appeal to logic and he fails to see your point. This doubling down phenomenon appears in the MAGA movement, where Trump's false claims of election fraud and deep state conspiracies remain widely believed, particularly among those experiencing cognitive dissonance due to contrasting evidence. As Festinger wrote, the disconfirmation of a belief only strengthens it, especially when believers can band together to reinforce their original conviction. Collective Behavior Theory: How Group Dynamics Fuel MAGA. Neil Smeltzer's The Theory of Collective Behavior provides a framework to analyze why people join mass movements, especially during social strain. Smeltzer's six-factor model identifies circumstances under which individuals feel compelled to join collective actions, which are often seen during times of rapid social change or perceived moral decline. The crowd provides a sense of power and a temporary escape from the individual sense of insignificance and isolation. Neil Smeltzer. For Trump supporters, the perceived erosion of traditional values, economic stability, and political influence for working-class Americans created an environment where collective behavior became a coping mechanism. In Crowds and Power, Elias Canetti highlights the psychological need for belonging, describing how crowds unify people who feel socially or economically marginalized, transforming their individual grievances into shared beliefs. Trump rallies serve as powerful environments where individual grievances are validated through shared enthusiasm, anger, and chanting, creating a safe space for disaffected followers. This reinforces in-group loyalty and heightens the movement's resilience against external criticism. The urge to belong to a crowd is an overpowering desire that can dissolve individual wills and turn rational beings into a single, irrational force. Political and economic grievances become catalysts for mass movements. The MAGA movement cannot be fully understood without examining the economic and political grievances that fuel its momentum. Since the 1980s, many working-class Americans, especially in rural and industrial regions, have faced job loss, wage stagnation, and diminished economic prospects, often associated with trade policies like NAFTA, the effects of globalization, and automation. Studies on collective political movements reveal that economic hardship and perceived neglect by political elites foster resentment and distrust of established institutions. This sentiment was particularly palpable following the 2008 financial crisis, where the government's handling of bank bailouts intensified feelings of disempowerment among the working class. In the MAGA narrative, Trump positions himself as an anti-establishment savior, speaking directly to those who feel left behind. His rhetoric of returning to a lost, great America resonates with voters who view the political establishment as corrupt and unresponsive. Hoffer explores this phenomenon in The True Believer, describing how mass movements thrive when led by charismatic figures who promise to restore perceived moral or social order, making followers feel part of a larger, righteous cause. In Hoffer's words, faith in a holy cause is to a considerable extent a substitute for the lost faith in ourselves. Mass hysteria and the spread of disinformation in the MAGA movement has also seen the proliferation of conspiratorial thinking, often dismissed as mass hysteria. Fear, disinformation, and rumor spread quickly through close-knit communities under stress. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic and associated economic disruptions catalyzed mass hysteria within Trump's base, with many supporters buying into disinformation about vaccines, mask mandates, and election fraud. Social media serves as a powerful platform for reinforcing these beliefs, providing a virtual echo chamber that sustains and amplifies delusional narratives. In his 1895 book, The Crowd, A Study of the Popular Mind, Gustave Le Bon notes that crowds are susceptible to suggestibility, which diminishes individual critical thinking and amplifies emotional responses. As Le Bon put it, an individual in a crowd is a grain of sand amid other grains of sand, which the wind stirs up at will. In the digital age, social media amplifies these dynamics by providing a continuous stream of emotionally charged content that reinforces the movement's beliefs and worldview, creating a cyber crowd susceptible to psychological contagion. Crowds in this sense are not necessarily smart. In fact, such crowds often act in ways that the smarter individuals within them would avoid. Crowds are always intellectually inferior to the isolated individual, but they can unleash forces of remarkable intensity. Gustave Le Bon. Understanding MAGA for constructive engagement. Collective delusion, collective behavior, and economic grievance coalesce within the MAGA movement to create a potent socio-political force that defies conventional logic and resists change. Understanding the psychological, sociological, and economic drivers behind Trump's base offers valuable insights for liberal and progressive thinkers. Rather than dismissing the movement as purely irrational, recognizing the deeply rooted grievances and psychological underpinnings can facilitate more empathetic and constructive engagement. By addressing the sources of economic disempowerment, validating grievances, and promoting media literacy, activists may find more effective strategies for countering extremist narratives and fostering dialogue across political divides.
Hey, thanks for watching Delusion, Grievance, and Loyalty, a production of Together for Good. If you found this essay helpful, please click the button above or below to subscribe, and also click the like button. It helps grow the channel and support this work. I'm Mike Palmer. See you next time.